Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Isn't She Powerful podcast. I am so excited to have you here with me today because I have a previous Seismic Shift client here with us, and her name is Krista. Krista has a really incredible health story. Prior to joining Seismic Shift, she got a medical diagnosis that she really wanted to get in front of. She also struggled a lot with her relationship with food and with an all or nothing mindset. The really cool thing about Krista is that she was putting in the work prior to joining Seismic Shift. I know for a fact that she was listening to health and wellness podcasts just like you guys, because that's how Krista and I got to know each other. She was constantly posting and tagging me that she was listening to this podcast. I know from watching her stories that she was listening to other podcasts along these same topics as well. So she was already putting in a lot of work. She was posting pictures of the food that she was eating. She was showing videos of herself working out on social media. She was putting in the work, but she was still struggling with her mindset and with the consistency of all of it. So in this episode, Krista is going to talk a little bit about what she was struggling with before she joined Seismic Shift, what made her decide now's the time, I really need to take this step and I need to invest rather than just watching from the sidelines. And she's going to talk a lot about what are the big changes that she made inside of the program that allowed her to get rid of her all or nothing mindset, heal her relationship with food, get so consistent with her nutrition and exercise and water, while also having perfect labs from her doctor 5 months in a row since joining the program and losing 12 pounds on top of all of that. Yes, she lost weight and healed her relationship with food at the same time, and it is so possible for you too. If as you are listening to this, you catch yourself thinking, I think it might be time for me to take my health and do something about it rather than just listening to all of these podcasts, I need to make a change. I would love so much to get to work with you. There are 2 options for working with me right now. There is one-on-one coaching. I have a summer special that is going on right now. It is a June, July, and August program where we are specifically targeting weight loss. This is for people who really want to lose the weight. You're ready to do the work. You're ready to put in that effort. So if that is you, I would love to have you reach out to me. Simply DM me on Instagram. You can DM me the word breakthrough. And as long as there is still availability, I would love so much to get to work with you in that one-on-one program. Otherwise, Seismic Shift is always open, always available, and you can join at any time without even having to talk to me about it. You can visit the links down below to learn more about both of these programs, and I would love so much to get to work with you. So with that being said, let's go on and let's dig into this episode with Krista. Krista, welcome to the Isn't She Powerful podcast.
Hello.
I'm so excited to have you here. Thank you for doing this, taking the time to just come and share your story and your experiences inside of Seismic Shift and all of the health changes that you've had.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit, Krista, about what was life like before you joined Seismic Shift? I know that you already had some really good habits built. That's what brought us together. You were tagging me all the time. I was following you and just seeing all of your transformations that had already happened. But tell me a little bit more about what life was like before Seismic Shift.
Yeah. So like you said, I had obviously some habits a little bit built up before, but I definitely had like that all or nothing mindset. Like there were days that I would go all in, and then there was days that I started the morning like not getting a workout in, or I didn't eat breakfast, and so then I was just done for that day, which obviously I know much better now, which is wonderful. But that was probably my biggest thing prior. I did previously find things that I enjoyed, like working out, and I also was a good water drinker. Being in the healthcare field, that was just something important. Just keeping up on water, so I'm not wanting to snack all day. But yeah, those were some of the basic things. But prior to Seismic Shift, I also, tried different diets. That was probably my biggest like lack per se in the all or nothing mindset as well. Just if I didn't eat good that day, which now that's not what I would say. But in the time, that's what I would say. Then that was, I would just be done for the day, and I would eat a lot of other junk and just say that my workout would make up for it or whatever. So it was definitely the biggest prior to thing.
Okay. Yeah. So you were like pretty consistent, I would say, with exercise, at least from what I saw on social media, what I was seeing of you. Exercise was kind of consistent for you, but the nutrition piece of it was the biggest challenge.
Definitely. Nutrition and mindset.
Yeah, nutrition and mindset. Love that. So what finally made you decide to join Seismic Shift? Because I will never forget whenever you joined Seismic Shift. It was a Saturday morning. I was laying in bed and I saw come through Krista LaFollette signed up for Seismic Shift. And I was like, oh my God, Krista signed up. Like, I just knew immediately who you were. I was so excited to have you. So, what was going on in your head that made you think I'm ready to join?
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, I obviously had some habits built up before, and I had been watching you on social media, as you know, for quite a while, which was good and fun. I think the shift really for me was, as you know, but I'll just say for everybody else, I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, and I were also undergoing a fertility journey. So I think I was just at a point I was like, hey, I've done this on my own for so long, and not reaching where I want to be. There must be something I'm missing, which I knew deep down, but truthfully didn't want to admit. And so I finally was just like, hey, I'm talking to my husband, and he was like, I think that, some of those things she says are just really good. And he is not someone that listens to stuff like that at all,
Yeah.
but knows that I was super interested. And he was like, maybe you should just give it a
Aw.
try. And I was like, I also think I should give it a try because that's probably my missing piece.
I love to hear that. It makes me so happy whenever husband and wives make the decision together. It's something
Yeah.
that both people are on board with because it can be really challenging to be on a health journey
Mhm.
and even more challenging when you're on a health journey in a home where other people aren't on board with the idea of it. You know
For
what I
sure.
mean? Like they're not
Yeah.
interested in what you're learning about. They're not
Mhm.
interested in changing their mindset or changing their eating habits. And so that makes it really challenging. But it sounds like your husband was super supportive from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. He doesn't like the food aspect of it and working out too. Doesn't follow everything, but he's super supportive and like knowing I have my goals and helping me like try to stay on track with that, which is super helpful.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So you've been out of Seismic Shift for some months now. It's probably
yeah,
been what, 2 or 3 months now.
yeah.
So I'm curious, how have you been with maintaining some of the habits you built up during the program?
Yeah, really good. Actually, I'm going to start by we broke down our goals like in Seismic Shift, which was very helpful in regards to like sustainability. So I already had that water piece, which I talked about, and then I already had like my pretty consistent workouts. But the one thing through Seismic Shift that was helpful was just knowing my routine, which we talked about a lot. I kind of gave myself a hard time on, not getting my workouts in the morning all the time. And sometimes they were late at night. And that's kind of where that all or nothing mindset came in. Like if I didn't get it done in the morning, then I just didn't do it.
Yeah.
So through the program, I just found out, there are looking at my schedule, there are going to be times I can get it in the morning, and there might be times I get it in like as soon as I get home from work.
Yeah.
And so that is something that I've carried on throughout. Like there are some mornings that it's very easy for me to get in the morning and I know I'm going to do it in the morning and plan for that. And I stick to that. And then there's a couple days that I do it either right after work or after my son goes to bed. But then I plan for that and know that I'm going to get in regardless. So that's super helpful. Another thing that really stuck to me after Seismic Shift that I learned through it was the meal planning and prepping.
Mm.
So I used to do it every Sunday, well, Saturday, and then I would prep on Sunday after grocery shopping. And you helped me break that up. So I was catching myself getting like bored of the
Mhm.
meal, like whatever I prepped by the end of the week. And so then I'd be like, oh, I'll just eat out. Or like sometimes I would skip lunch, which I obviously is not good. But nutrition was a big factor for me in regards to learning in the Seismic Shift. So I now meal prep on Sundays for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I meal prep again on Wednesday for the rest of the week.
That's awesome.
And that's something I've been able to stick to and be very consistent with. It's been helpful. And I've done much less eating out, which has been nice.
Yay, that's so
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I feel like the flexibility of real of your routines, right? The flexibility of like I
Mm.
can work out in the morning or the evenings. I can meal prep multiple times a week versus just one time a week. Like
Yep.
realizing that there's flexibility and it's your life. You get to make the rules. You get to make health fit you. Not it's not like I feel like we think that health is a box we have to fit in. And it's
Yep.
like I'm the box. Health fits in me. I
Yeah.
can just make this work for me.
Yeah. That was one thing I really, and maybe you'll ask this, but one thing I really liked was just how in the program you break down like broad aspect, but also so individual, if that makes any sense. So, like finding what workout works for you is how you're going to be consistent.
Yes.
Finding out when or how you can prep or use leftovers, because I've also done that some now. Finding out what works for you is like what's going to keep you consistent. And before, I feel like I just had this very toned and broad thoughts of I need to meal prep every Sunday, I need to eat the same thing every day, which is great for people that do, but I was not
Right.
myself accountable to that. And so nutrition has been a big factor in my journey. I mean, the working out, mindset, water, all that is great too. But I know the nutrition aspect was something I really needed to feel better and I wanted to like achieve. And so that's been a big change.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, you said it just a few minutes ago when you said, I'm gonna get it in regardless. Like, it's one of those things where now, instead of, I have to fit it in at this
Yeah.
time. Okay, if I didn't fit it in this time, then I'll just fit it in at a different time. Like, you've made it to where this isn't non-negotiable for me. I'm gonna eat healthy. I'm gonna exercise. I'm gonna drink my water. I'm gonna make it happen. It's just a matter of how and when, but those things aren't important anymore. I just know that
Yep.
it's going to happen.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Maybe you've heard of my group coaching program, Seismic Shift, and you've thought, I mean, it sounds great, but I just don't have any extra time in my life. Or, well, I've tried other programs and they didn't work, and I'm sure this one's not going to be any different. Or even, I just don't have the extra money to be wasting right now, and I'm not going to spend my money on something that probably isn't going to work for me. I hear you. I've had those exact same thoughts many times in my life, and so have every single one of the women who have decided to join Seismic Shift. They're busy, just like you. They've tried everything else, just like you. And they don't trust themselves to follow through anymore, just like you. And that's why I designed Seismic Shift to be different. When you work with me, you are no longer relying on willpower or motivation. We focus on creating small, realistic habits that fit the life that you currently live. We're not overhauling your entire life. We're just building new routines step by step in a way that you can actually keep up with. And believe me when I say you are not doing it alone. There is live coaching in the chat. There's live coaching in all of our calls. And there's so much accountability. I recently had someone say, I'd love to join, but I joined a program before and the coach did not actually keep up with me. It was like I got lost in the crowd. So I said, let me prove to you that I can be different. And that's exactly what I've done. I've checked in with her personally. I have made sure that she is on track with this program just like I would do for you. This isn't about doing it perfectly. It's about doing something that actually sticks. So if you're tired of starting over, this is your next step. You can join me inside of Seismic Shift right now by visiting behealthyhabits.com/seismic-shift or visiting the link down in the show notes. Again, that's behealthyhabits.com/seismic-shift or heading down to the link in the show notes and easily finding us there. And because you are a podcast listener, I have a special discount code for you that gets you 10% off for life. You can use the code POWERFUL. Again, that's the code POWERFUL at checkout for 10% off for life. That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. And I wanted you to talk a little bit more about the goal setting because you mentioned that that was one of the big takeaways for you is the goal setting aspect of how we did it in the program, making them really realistic and really specific goals. So talk a little bit about how that benefited you and how you're still using that type of goal setting.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously, like everyone's schedule is so different, which was super neat. And we were all like various ages and at different parts of life in the program, which was super cool to see. I come from a background of working in healthcare. I work a lot of hours. I also work an hour from home. So I take that into consideration. And then I also have a wild 4-year-old that keeps me busy when I am at home, but I love. So for me personally, when we were setting our goals, I liked how you really broke down like the count, like literally like a calendar and like, what are you doing this week? Like when
Yes.
are for myself, like when are my son's practices? When are his games? When do I know for sure a couple days a week I'm gonna have late days at work? Is there a day like Mondays I go in earlier, so I'm home earlier? The days I don't take my son to daycare, like that's when I plan to do my workout in the morning because I don't have to get him ready and take him. So just having the calendar part as like a visual was really helpful. And literally just taking, you could take a piece of paper and write it down like for the week. So that was helpful in regards to like workouts. And then, I even write down like what days I'm going to do strength training and what days I'm going to like walk. So I know. And I also have it just in my head from the mindset piece of it is just if I don't get that day, like if I end up going on a walk with my son instead, that's okay. I'll just do strength training another day, or it's not the end of the world, which was super nice and something I took away also. And then, yeah, the nutrition aspect, you broke it down super easy in multiple ways. But the one way that's really stuck with me was like that 30 30 30, which was kind of actually more of a specific goal that you talked about, but something that really resonated with me and I've kept going was just having that rule, the 30 grams of protein, less than 30 grams of carbs, and no more than 30 a day in fiber. And that's just something that's been easy to stick with me because I was someone that used to try and count calories, try and count macros, which I'm not saying anything against any of that, but breaking it down much simpler to even, I started there in the beginning of the program, just having 2 veggies a day. And that's actually still on my like goal sheet that I have that
Yeah.
I mark off every night. I have the 30, 30, 30, but I also have 2 different vegetables a day is actually what I put. But just breaking those smaller pieces down to what's actually going to work for you. Like I can drink 100 ounces of water very easily in a day. But for someone drinking like a whole 40-ounce cup is what they need because they maybe drink like pops, like a couple of cans of pop instead of drinking water.
Yep.
So I felt like you did a really good job and it helped me in my mindset shift, really being able to break down those smaller goals to make them more realistic. And then by the end, I felt like my goals were much more, I shouldn't say complicated, but much more challenging.
Hmm.
And those are all the ones that I've stuck with, which has been nice.
Yeah, it's one of those things like at the beginning of the program, I always say, just trust the process with me.
Yeah.
I know that these goals seem really small, and you're like, how could these goals help me in any way? They're so tiny. But by the time you get through the program, you're like, okay, because I started with those small goals, built the habit, I could then add on to it. And now you're able to maintain it for
Yeah.
months after the program and feel so good and so proud of yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like having those small goals, regardless of, because you had like the 3 different levels for each week, regardless of which one you chose, being able to actually achieve those small goals just makes you feel good. Because I feel like that's also what keeps you going, keeps you trying, which is what I did prior. When you set goals so big that you don't achieve them, that's when I previously found myself giving up, which mainly was nutrition. When I was like, oh, I had one bad meal for the day, well, then screw it for the rest of the time. Or for the rest of the day, or when like a holidays came up, things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really helpful and definitely something that's stuck with me.
Awesome. And it sounds like your all or nothing mindset and your relationship with food, those things are so much better now. Is there
Yeah.
anything specific you think helped with that? Or is there any, I don't know, anything that you think it tipped the iceberg and you're like, okay, things started to click for you, I guess, is what I'm
Yeah.
asking.
Not 100% something specifically, but mainly just the breakdown of how easy it could be.
Mm,
Um, because I feel like the all or nothing mindset for me, I was overcomplicating it. And so when I was overcomplicating it or setting goals that were honestly unrealistic for me, like the example of eating 2 vegetables a day, like I just focusing on that alone for a while was achievable for me. Whereas of now I'm at the point of eating like a half a plate of vegetables. You
yeah.
know what I mean? So even just like eating a couple pieces to know I had those 2 was very achievable. So I think that was more so I would say like the breaking point for me was just knowing I needed to essentially reel it in and be realistic with myself for me personally and my schedule. Yeah, to not be so hard on myself and know that it's okay to take those small steps to achieve those goals. And then I felt like I was like, okay, I can do this and I don't need to be negative about it. Like it's okay that I did this and it's fine that I didn't do that. So I feel like that's what helps me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's like letting your good be good enough, right? Like
Yeah.
this is what I was able to do today,
Yeah.
and I'm proud of that. That's
Yeah.
enough. Tomorrow, if I have the opportunity, I can do more, and
Yeah.
that'll be great tomorrow. But for today, I'm gonna lay my head on my pillow at night knowing I ate a couple bites of 2 different types of vegetables. I
Yeah.
got my workout in and I drank my water. And
Yeah.
you like just stop beating ourselves up over
Yeah.
these silly things. Like there's only so much time and opportunity for growth in one single day. It's
Yeah.
about, it's about this entire thing, not just this one day. So
Yeah.
I feel like you really embraced that change.
Yeah. That was definitely the biggest thing for me. And I think the hump that I needed to get over because it's always been me. I mean, through sports, schoolwork, my job, my mom, you
Yeah.
know, different aspects of life. So I definitely even think it's applied to different areas of my life too. But just, yeah,
Yes.
letting things go.
Yeah,
Even if it's not.
absolutely. I've
Yeah.
always said when you have an all or nothing relationship with food,
Yeah,
you have it in all these other areas of your life too. And when you heal it in one, you can heal it in all of these other aspects too.
yeah,
So I'm
for
happy to
sure.
see that you're starting to feel some of that shift in the way that you approach other aspects of life.
Definitely.
Awesome. So during the program, I do know you got some pretty good news from a doctor as well. And I know that you came back from that appointment and you're like, the things that she was saying, they align really well with what you were saying. And it feels like you got some really good validation at that time.
Yeah, with having the Graves' disease, I ended up switching endocrinologist in December of last year. And my first call was with you, and one-on-one call was in November, I think.
It
And then we
was,
started
yeah.
actually in January. Yeah. So it was cool because when we talked about my goals or a little earlier in like that one-on-one call, I went to this endocrinologist and she had a poster on the wall, and I was just reading at it, between like the nurse and the doctor. And after she came in, I was like, hey, this is really familiar. And she was like, well, that's good. Like, how? And so I was telling her, and she's like, that is wonderful. And it was basically like, I don't remember what it technically said on the poster, but it was the breakdown of like the proteins, the carbs, and the half a plate of vegetables. So it was a quarter, and a half. And I said, that's what she just told me, like literally just like last week or the week before. And she's like, well, that's great. Because she said that's what people need. And she said people overcomplicate it, or they
Yeah.
get like the current fad right now is like eating a ton of protein. Well,
Hmm.
she said the same thing. If you're eating a bunch of protein and not doing other things, like it's going to store as fat. Like it's not,
Yep.
you have to have all of the pieces and the healthy fats, of course, too. But yeah, you have to have the breakdown of all those pieces together. And so it was really cool to see those things come together.
Yeah, it's nice when you get a little like God wink external validation of
Yeah.
like, okay, I made the right decision. I joined the
Yep.
right program. I'm trusting the right people.
Yep.
It feels really good to get that kind of validation. So,
Yeah.
yay for
So
all
cool.
of that. Krista, is there anything else that you had thought of previously you wanted to mention during this, or do you feel like that covered all the bases?
I think that's really it.
I'm so glad that you took the plunge. You joined Seismic Shift. I
Yeah.
loved getting to know you and still seeing all of I mean, I still follow you, so I'm still seeing all of your videos of you doing your workouts and all the things. And I'm just so proud of the amount of progress that you made. And I can't wait to continue to watch you and see how much you grow.
Yeah. It's been a good journey, and I am excited to continue.
Thanks for being on the show,
Thank
and we'll
you.
talk again soon.
All right. Sounds good.
Bye, Krista.
Bye.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to see you again next week. And always remember, the more you know, the more you grow.